Alrighty, so back again for another round. We won the die roll, which is always great. This hand, however, is not great. So we are snap mulliganing this. This hand has the potential to be great. I'm going to go ahead and keep it. I'll scry it to the bottom, though it doesn't actually change anything. I'm going to be able to get a Stomping Ground and play a Wild Nacatl, follow it up with Goblin Guide, and hopefully have my opponent at 16 by the end of next turn, or less. Modern's a fetch land, shock land format. Okay, so with this, let's go ahead and lead on Goblin Guide. I'll sandbag the Vexing Devil, because this encourages my opponent to use his removal first. And a lot of times, if they use their removal... Alright, so they're drawing Snapcaster Mage. So Bloodstained Mire with Snapcaster Mage as their draw leads me to believe that this is some sort of Grixis deck. Wow. Super aggressive. Okay. Terminate Thoughtscour Island. Well, at the end of last round, I said I wanted to play against more removal. I found it. This is it. Um, Somehow less pleased than I thought I would be. What you got? Tassiger on turn 2, the way it was meant to be. Okay, this is a little unfortunate. We're going to go ahead and play the Vexing Devil, not attack, um, and pass after that. I assume my opponent just leaves Vexing Devil sticking around. Um, and if he attacks with Tasker, we're definitely just not attacking. Still, great draw would just be a land, because then that means we just get to go bring True Emissary into Bushwhacker. And that should be just so much damage that doesn't matter. Alright, good news is we drew another Burning Tree Emissary, so now we get to go Emissary, Emissary, Bushwhacker. Bad news is I don't have the second land to do that, so plan's on hold for now, but it's still great. I think it does just make all of this potential plan lethal, though. It might. I think it actually was beforehand, or it was 1 point short. Did he just crack Polluted Delta and not get a land? No, he had to have. Alright, so he's gonna start... Oh man, this is super tough. Do I start trying to chip in damage? Drawing the second land is good anyway. I think I might, because then I knock him down to 7. Theoretically, it could be a 5. Alright, I think I'm going to start doing that just because he has... Well, he has Terminate coming. But Emissary, Emissary, Bushwhacker is still going to be 5 damage. So actually getting in here for a bunch still works. So I'll swing for 6. If he doesn't do anything... oh man, Dreadbore. Never mind. This got worse. Alright, so he's going to take 4 here. Go to 7. No, what's he doing? Alright, Terminate, which means can't be regenerated. He tapped out of that, so I'm just going to go ahead and growth this while I can. Not paying the life. He's going to be able to Dreadbore the Goblin Guide, swing in with Tassiger. Potentially. He may want to keep it back as a blocker. And next turn, he's just going to be able to like start. If he has another land, which is probably the best case scenario for him, he gets to just completely run away with the game because he's just going to be able to start activating Tassiger all the time. Oh, that's rough. The good news is... Oh no, he targeted himself. Got rid of Mana Leak. Alright, so this is just Grixis Delver. Taking 7 here. He has 1 card in hand. Come on, land. Jesus. So I do have to say, like, 1-landers can be risky, but not hitting one in 7 turns is a little excessive. Alright, I can't actually win here. So I'm just gonna, yeah, that's it. Um, he had 2 cards in hand. If one of them was a counter spell, I still lost. Otherwise, I would have had 3 power, 6 power, 8 power. That wasn't quite enough. That's why I was trying to attack in and make sure the mutagenic growth, but yeah, pretty much every single instance it was a little bit short. So I want to bring in paths for sure. Um, I'm thinking yes on the rest in peace, and I'm thinking no on the Gorkland Rampagers. They're just not very good here. Same thing with Rancor. Rancor is actually more defensible just because the trample against like a bunch of 1 toughness creatures between Snapcaster Mage and Vendilion Click and things like that. But I don't think it's enough. Beyond that, I probably want to go with 1 less Bushwhacker and probably bring in a Phyrexian Unlife. Because in that instance, it would have given me 1 or 2 more draw steps with Phyrexian Unlife, and they have no way to really deal with it besides like Cryptic Command. So I'm gonna go with Phyrexian Unlife and go with Goat Shot, Lightning Helix, because I could have definitely used more generic burn there. I would like to play first. This hand is actually okay. Being able to go turn 1 experiment 1 and then swing for 5 on turn 2 is just huge. The downside is I can't actually play around just bolt my experiment 1. I will play around Magma Spray though. I think that is worth it. The fact that my opponent just went ahead and so I'm gonna lead with the Bloodstained Mire, which I'm gonna go to 13, which is woof, man. Getting a Sacred Foundry. I will pay the 2 life, and I'm going to go Goblin Guide, Evolve Experiment 1, into Wild Nacatl, Evolve Experiment 1. And now I get to swing for 5, and have that be that. Alright, so he's drawing Tasigur, but his graveyard is nowhere near as impressive as it was last game. Alright, he just passes with a bunch of mana up. I'm going to go ahead and attack with everybody because I have nothing else to do. But this isn't exactly a suspicious attack where it looks like I have nothing to do. Alright, so he's going to 7. I have lethal on board. I think it's worth it just to go with Dryad Arbor, believe it or not. And I'm not going to cast a Wild Nacatl. I'll hold it back because there's no reason to really play it. But Dryad Arbor just means like he has to Wrath the board, which also potentially means him taking like he needs needs to do more damage to himself. And if he can't Wrath the board, I'm sure he just loses here. I don't think, or rather, by putting Dryad Arbor out, it makes him almost have to Wrath the board because like 2 normal removal spells, like he just goes like red and then like Magma Spray Bolt, and I have 4 power. That means Mutagenic Growth, Bolt, Gorkland Rampager are all lethal, whereas Dryad Arbor really isn't a concern for me because I have another land and another creature. I have no idea what my opponent could be. Okay, so he's going to go with Tassiger. This also plays around Tassiger even better because uh, it gives me just another body that I don't actually care about, which is kind of huge. Alright, so does he have Bolt? Alright, that's unfortunate. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I run everything into everybody because he probably goes Delver to either trade with Dryad Arbor or go. No, he has to go Goblin Guide and then Tassiger on Wild Nacatl and take 4, which means he's dead to like almost everything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play a land. I am going to attack with everybody. Uh, Alright, he has another Tassiger, which isn't particularly useful. He has to block there, and I don't think he actually has to block there. I will go ahead and regenerate experiment 1. Opponent will take 2 down to 3. And I still have my entire board, which is why I was kind of confused why he blocked like that. I'm not going to play the Wild Nacatl because, once again, my board state's fantastic. He doesn't have nearly enough blockers. Even if he goes like Young Pyromancer Spell, he only has enough. Like, he has to go basic land into Young Pyromancer Spell to not die. So, alrighty. Game 3, let's see how we do. Is Gut Shot worth it? Is Gut Shot better than anything I am running? We're not going to go with the Phyrexian on Life. I'm going to go into a Gut Shot. The Lightning Helix I actually do think I like. I'm going to be on the draw, so I think I might prefer the Gut Shot to Mutagenic Growth. It's actually kind of close. I'm also kind of leaning towards Lightning Helix as well. But no, I think I'm just going to take out the Phyrexian on Life. On the draw, this hand is still bad. Jesus. I don't know that this one is better. I don't know that mulliganing to 5 is correct. I have a draw. The 3 lands is tough. But I just... Because if this was a mull to 5, like, let's axe the mountain and then call this a mull to 5. Is this good? Like, if he's on the Delver plan or something like that, I mean, Gut Shot's going to be huge. But I have nothing to go with Burning Tremors here. I'm just going to mulligan and see what happens. And it turns out that that basically was my hand anyway. So I'll keep this. Do I scry this? It doesn't... Oh, I am going to be drawing this. No, I don't think I want the Vexing Double. I think I'd rather draw something else. I'm going to play Stomping Ground into Curd Ape. That is fantastic. Alright, so I'm just going to go Stomping Ground into Curd Ape. And then... Oh, wait, should I lead on Vexing Double, is the question. Alright, let's lead on Vexing Double to see if he just takes the 4. Because he might if he plans on doing something better with Delver. Alright, then I'm just going to Gut Shot Delver Secrets. Alright, next turn I'm probably going to go Curd Ape, Windswept Heath. I guess it depends on what I draw, but I imagine... Alright, so now I'm just going to go double Curd Ape. I guess it's worth it to lead on Curd Ape before I play the land, because he might just remand it. Okay, Mana Leak's the second one. No, I will not pay for mana leak. Yeah, this multi 5 is not looking great. I I will admit. But my opponent currently doesn't have black mana. My opponent now has hurtful black mana. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll just assume that like my last card is total gas. Oh man, look at that. My last card is total gas. Do I waste this now? It represents 4 damage. Guess let's see what he does with this Flooded Strand first. Okay, now that he just kind of put that in, I'm worried that he might have a weird card like Disfigure. So I'd rather him just go to 9. If he has something... I don't know why he did that. Does he have Death Shadow? I love Death Shadow in this, in Grixis Delver sideboards. Okay, now I have Bolt and Atarkus Command, which is way better. So now I might just Atarkus Command. Oh, then it's just dead to Bolt. I think I'm going to give it another turn. And if I'm him, I don't do anything. Yeah. No, don't do that, sir. Like... He's going to mana leak that. Woof. Oh. That's unfortunate. So I can't pay for mana leak. I think I'm just gonna hold on to the bolt. I'm not gonna try and like play around all the counter magic possible, because it just goes too well. And if he like, one of the ways he can get back in the game is like Young Pyromancer plus a bunch of spells. So it's better for me to leave up bolt for stuff like that. Opponent and I have a great combo going, Polluted Delta and the Goblin Guide. Sees something he doesn't like on top. Just have all of the bolts in the world? Terminate. Okay. That's unfortunate. Still gets the trigger. So he has Magma Spray, which is unfortunate. Luckily, between Vexing Devil, Wild Nacatl, yeah, he doesn't want to draw. Magma Spray doesn't actually kill a ton in this matchup. I probably like would prefer running Forked Bolt over it in most situations. It's probably just a concession to what was I gonna say? Just trying to follow yields, just in case he like. I don't think he has anything that makes me discard at instant speed, but he could like Kolaghan's Command me, where I'm just doing like blind F6 value and shouldn't be. 3 cards in hand, so I'm gonna sacrifice Wood Foothills to get my Dryad Arbor. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and swing for 1. This is one of those odd things where it's just like, does he kill it? Like, if he bolts it, do I have a Tarkus Command? And wasting a Terminate on a Dryad Arbor just feels really bad. And so sometimes I like Dryad Arbor in this deck just because it's really good bait. And it's something that they are going to have to kill, because 2 hits from Dryad Arbor and my opponent's dead to double bolt. No, he just has every answer imaginable. To be fair, though, he hasn't actually drawn any threats. So, yay me, I guess. Alright, so now I have double bolt. I am going to just pass, waiting to see what my opponent does. If I hit, because it's one thing also, like, even a land next turn isn't a bad draw, because now I get to pay for mana leak. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and play Curd Ape. because one of these has to like stick. And if I can get in with Kurt Ape, I put him at double bolt range. He has 3 cards in hand. Alright, Bloodstained Mire, actually kind of a huge help. Because it means I get to resolve. Like, step 1 is getting in with Kurt Ape. Which I did. Okay. Step 2 is resolving bolts. And I'm generally very overly patient with bolting my opponent because there's just too many things that he could have. Because he didn't do anything there. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice my Bloodstained Mire now, get a basic mountain, and bolt my opponent with Mana Leak mana up. Because if he has Mana Leak, he has to basically have double Mana Leak, which puts him super low. So he's going to remand it. And I'm going to untap. And I'm going to go ahead and bolt him now. Right now. Alright, he's going to counter Squall. That's okay. He has 2 cards in hand, and he didn't... I'm going to assume that he didn't have the counter Squall ahead of time. So now I'm going to try and bolt him again. Twitch is going to Mana Leak, and I say okay to that. I'm not going to pay for Mana Leak. And now I'm going to Surge Reckless Bushwhacker and put my opponent to 1. And because, so apparently my opponent had Remand, Counter Squall, Mana Leak, I would not have been able to, if I just blindly flung double bolt at him, I would have been completely screwed. Whereas now he has to remove 2 creatures and 2 cards and play around me just naturally drawing bolt. And with only 1 card in hand, I just don't think he can do that. Alright, so he... Never mind. Snapcaster Mage. I forgot this is like a modern legal magic card. It's just totally not too good. Snapcaster Mage is fine. So the good news is I have an out. Man, should have brought in that second gut shot. Yeah, so he's going to kill Kurt Ape. So we can trade with Reckless Bushwhacker. He has no cards in hand. There's no reason for me to attack and trade here, so I'm going to go Wild Nacatl pass. And my opponent just has to draw an answer. And I have to continue not drawing answers. And we're just going to, like, now we're in just a top deck war. And once again, I have 2 more Lightning Bolts, a bunch of Atarka's Command, a Lightning Helix I board into. So any of those are completely valid draws. And even a Goblin Guide or Reckless Bushwhacker would do it. Yeah, because pretty much everything I can think of only... Snapcaster Mage would be one that can do it. I think I'm going to go ahead and attack here, just because it forces him to have it, and he's not going to get a ton of value out of Snapcaster Mage. The other thing is Snapcaster Mage doesn't work in the long term, because it's still just kind of there. Alright, does he have the kill spell? Alright, Kolaghan's Command. He's going to return a creature. He's going to return Delver of Secrets. Okay. That's a good one. Alright, so... He did target... I would have targeted Snapcaster, probably. Did he already have a Snapcaster in the yard? Alright, main phase. I do have to play my Experiment one, because he currently has a Delver, and that's a blocker. Once again, a ton of burn spells are also outs. Alright, so he drew Tasigur, which once again was like one of the best draws he could do. Especially because now he's going to be able to just return pretty much anything. So I have to pass here. This is very unfortunate. It was one of those things where I just kind of assumed that I would win this top deck war sooner than he would, just because there's so many outs left. So what do I give him? Man, there are only good things. I'm going to give him Tasigur. Seems like the worst option right here because I need to resolve my spells, so giving him like Remand doesn't exactly help. I hope the Delver just doesn't flip here, because most creatures are bad for him. They're bad for me too because creatures generally mean... Alright, so I'm just taking this. He'll probably delve for another Tasigur, but by taking this, this means that both Reckless Bushwhacker and Goblin Guide are both live draws. That kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just giving him Tasigur again. Yeah, he's just getting Tasigur. And he'll basically be able to do the same thing. And now we're at the point where... Oh, I just lose now. Alright, I'm just F6ing. That's unfortunate. I can make him, I guess, go through the motions, but yeah, I just lose now. GG's, opponent. So how far was I at Goblin Guide? Alright, I mean, like, I have to hit something relevant at some point. Rest in Peace would have been an awful draw. I still think it's probably good enough in the matchup, because the Snapcaster Mage and Tasker value wouldn't have been there, and that would have definitely just like let us in a board stall where I would have had enough turns to draw something. But that was like 5 turns that I had to actually draw any haste creature or burn spell. Oh well, that happens. That's why I wanted to play against one of the more grindy decks to see how this deck does do in grindy out things. And that's kind of the thing. Like after, especially after like turn 7, which we hit, I was just like, no, I'm probably not coming back from this. And that was on the mole as well. So does happen. Overall, like the deck was like super consistent. So I'm really happy to see that. And I'll see you in the next one.